Chapter 17. The feeling of freedom was immediate. They made it. Lying on the grass, she ran her fingers through it, craving the warmth and comfort the warm grass gave her. She didn't want to do anything ever again but breathe in the rich smell of dirt. Hurrying over to check on them, Larsh looked relieved and worried. What happened? Everything, Lyda said as she lay on her back, not moving. Is everyone okay? Larsh asked, looking from person to person. No one wanted to talk, but Jasp answered for all of them when he said, I think so. Roan, what happened to your lip? Larsh asked. Nothing I didn't deserve, Roan answered. She was shocked. Roan remembered? Looking at Callity, she could tell she remembered as well. How? She looked for Grade, but was surprised he wasn't there. Oh no. Had he gone back down the path? She panicked, dreading returning for him, but then spotted him walking by himself a little ways off. Page break. The dazed strain showed on everyone's faces as they sat around the fire. She was sitting by Larsh and Harma as things felt awkward with Callity. You know how you said you know yourself in a way you didn't before? She asked. Yeah, Larsh sighed. How do you know when you know enough? Larsh laughed sadly. I was wondering the same thing. They stared at the fire. Tide came and sat next to her. How's your headache, Tide? She asked. It's either gone, or it's combined with the rest of my pain, and I can't discern where any of them start and stop. They laughed. How about you, Harma? How are you feeling? She asked. Basically the same, Harma smiled back. I'm thinking of stopping, Larsh confessed. I keep thinking, if I had been there with Harma, maybe this wouldn't have happened. And I keep telling him there was nothing he could have done to get me out of the box. I just wish I'd been there, Larsh said remorsefully. She surprised herself by saying, I'm glad you weren't there, Larsh. If you had been, we wouldn't have been able to get the drink for Harma or the box for Roan. Maybe, Larsh breathed deeper. True, Tide said. It just doesn't make any sense, you know? Why were our paths the same, but the gray path was different? Larsh asked, looking for answers. They shrugged, having none. Wait, Larsh said, formulating a question. Harma, why didn't Roan use your crystal bottle to help you? We didn't have one. You didn't complete the first challenge? No, Harma answered. We didn't get past the first person. What happened? Larsh lowered his voice. Pete didn't capture the spider. Our first one was a snake, Tide whispered. I had to catch the spider, but I was second. How did you guys decide the order? Larsh asked. We drew straws. Shortest went first, Harma answered. Larsh told me how you guys picked. I'm sorry, Tilly. It must have been really hard. Larsh saved me from the rats. Harma shuddered. I'm okay with the fact that we didn't finish the first challenge or any of them. I've been thinking, Larsh continued. I'm glad I didn't drink the drink. Puzzled, Tide asked, why? I think you guys were protected from the gray path because you drank it. Why do you think that? Tide asked. Because Roan was immediately affected, and even though you surrounded the others, they eventually became affected. If I had gone with you, instead of staying with Harma, you would have had 2 people to fight. That would have been impossible, she said. The fire popped, and Tide jumped. Embarrassed, Tide said. I don't know why that scared me. I guess it reminded me of the glass balls popping, and I just don't want to go back to that creepy path. Page break. Everyone was talking quietly when Roan asked for their attention. Immediately giving it to him, he continued. I just want to apologize for my behavior today. It could have ended really badly if Tide, Tilly, and Lyda hadn't rescued us. I'm so sorry for what I put you all through. I have decided I will not be continuing tomorrow. I can't trust myself. Roan sat down. Callity stood. I, too, am sorry and will not be continuing. I want to thank you for what you have done for me. Kaladi finished and sat. Tide stood slowly. Roan, I've known you my whole life, and I've never seen you be anything but kind and patient. You couldn't help what happened on the path. You too, Cal. These days have been so tough. We almost didn't do the other challenges because the first one was so awful. After the second, we definitely didn't want to face the third. We did it because we were worried about you guys. I don't know exactly how everything works, but I do know if we hadn't finished our challenges, we wouldn't have been able to help you. It doesn't matter that today we were able to help you, because tomorrow you might be the reason we make it. I'm not saying everyone should continue, because I don't think that's right. But for those of you who want to continue and aren't, because of something you had no control over, well, that's just stupid. Tide sat. Lyda stood quickly. I'm with Tide. We are not worried if we can trust any of you. We know we can, and we know that we need you. If you choose not to continue tomorrow, let it be because you know your venture is over, not because of shame or regrets. Lyda sat. She had nothing to add, and it didn't seem like anyone else did either. Lars finally stood. Let's get some rest and talk about it tomorrow. Page break. Looking at the beautiful stars, she wondered if she should continue the venture. The moonless night made everything feel different, or maybe the world was different. Everything was so much harder than she could have imagined. How had it switched from the tasks being so easy and her mind so muddled to her mind being clearer but the tasks being almost impossible? Maybe the inner circle would have both hard tasks and her mind would be muddled. She didn't know if she would be able to handle both. She heard someone approaching. Tilly? Kaladi called out tentatively. Over here. Can we talk? Sure. Kaladi approached and sat. I'm sorry, Tilly. I'm really, really sorry. It wasn't your fault. Part of it was. What do you mean? It wasn't the same for me as it was for Roan. When I talked to him, he said he couldn't stop what he was doing. Pausing, she continued, I feel like I could have done better. How? Roan said he felt like he was tied up inside his mind and body, that he was helpless to stop himself. Slowly, Kaladi continued. I felt more like there were two of me, and that I should have stopped the mean one, but I didn't want to. Why? I don't know. I was full of so much rage, I just didn't care to stop. Are you upset with me? No, but on the path, I was upset with everything and everybody. It sounds like it was the path. I don't know how to explain it. It was like I was glad I was able to be angry, even if that anger wasn't all mine. What do you mean? She blew out her breath. I wish I knew. They sat silently before Kaladi tried again. Have you ever been really mad about something it doesn't make sense to be mad about? She thought of how annoying the first day's challenge had been. Yeah, I have. Kaladi continued. And then you realize your feelings don't match what is happening, so you feel bad for having them, and you just ignore them repeatedly until you think you'll go crazy. Yeah. On the gray path, I didn't want to ignore them anymore. That makes sense. It wasn't that I was mad at you or wanted to be mean to you. I just wanted to be angry. I wanted to feel all the anger I never let myself feel. I'm sorry that it came out on you. I understand that. Can you forgive me? Kaladi asked as her voice caught in her throat. Yes. Can you forgive me? For what? For being my friend when I wasn't being a good friend to you. What do you mean? Kaladi sounded confused. You were my friend when I was so caught up in my mind that I couldn't listen to you share your thoughts. I talk constantly. You don't always need to listen. Maybe sometimes you talk because you are uncomfortable with the silence. What do you mean? Kaladi asked timidly. I think you talk sometimes because you don't want to be alone with your thoughts. That's true, Kaladi confessed. I'm sorry. For what? That your thoughts are so heavy. Don't you have heavy thoughts? Kaladi asked. Sometimes. What do you do with them? I'm trying to learn to listen to them. And then what? Let them be there, I guess. Why? Kaladi questioned. Maybe thoughts are like people, and they want to be understood. I wish I understood my thoughts. Me too. Maybe letting them stay and be there helps them feel less scared. What would thoughts be scared of? Being alone.